Hello, EWE fans. This is Dustin J. Markowitz coming to you, taped, as always, from the gem along the Colorado River. Wow, I almost could say that without stumbling over myself there. The gem along the Colorado River, Laughlin, Nevada, bringing you another rendition of Behind Enemy Lines. Joining me today is one of EWE's premier handlers, a good friend of mine, filling in for John, who is a little bit busy tonight, the one, the only Demetrius Spriggs.
What up?
Well, Dee, thank you for joining me tonight. Obviously, it's been a few weeks since we've done a podcast, or a couple weeks at least since we've done a podcast, and, I figure it's about time to get one up. I apologize for those who have been waiting. We've had a few technical issues, including the loss of one entire podcast, which I am not too thrilled with, but, hey, we're here. Let's do what we can, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. It happens.
Well, we got a few interesting things going on. We're just going to kind of briefly summarize. Instead of doing one dedicated to Ladies' Night, one dedicated to Chaos, we're just going to kind of summarize coming off the pay-per-view and go into what is going on in EWE. Right now, let's start with the Retribution card. Actually, I should say Retribution results. One heck of a card, if you ask my honest opinion. We had 47 RPs for this one, D.
Yeah, we had a lot of RPs, but we also had a lot of no-shows. So...
Yeah, well, you take it for what you will, but we're starting to see, I think, right now, the premier handlers are actually stepping it up a notch, and you're starting to see the ones that are going to be able to be there for the next level are starting to do what they know how to do, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's always good to have people, a little good variety of people, so I think we definitely had that.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is probably, we were talking about this before in one of the other podcasts, that right now EWE is very diverse as far as role-playing talent goes, and of all skill levels, which is part of the reason why we brought back the X-Core title. A little bit more on that here in a little bit. Real quick, let's just give a big shout-out to our writers for the results. Abdul doing the post of the DDD Rock match, Dee for doing the Heatwave summaries, Scar for the X-Core Championship, Mike for the Tag Team Champion, Mark for the International Championship, Jay for the representative match, Dane versus Punk, I'm not going to write, but the sums of Hate and Chaos, the whatever, Country Boys versus Crime Time, I don't even know what they are anymore.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, Alessandro and who did he go against, actually? Oh, Dan Taylor. Yeah, Christy in 18, and of course DDD and Rock. Michael for Edge and Spider and the X Division Championship, and myself, Dustin Markowitz, for the Undisputed Championship. Guys, big round of thanks for everyone, at least from my end, and I'm sure D, you appreciate it too. I know we write as well, but you and I both know how hard it is to do some of these results sometimes, so big thank you to our writers.
Yeah, it definitely is hard sometimes, but, we got to keep going.
Absolutely. And guys, I just want to remind you too, you don't necessarily have to be staff in order to write a match. If you want to write a match and you're interested in doing it and you can do it in a timely fashion, please volunteer. Take some of the load off what we got going on, because Lord knows we all have lives outside of EWE, at least most of us. I don't,
Yeah, I was going to say some people act like they don't have a life, but I'm not touching that one tonight.
We'll do a quick rundown of the card here. We had a opening match was basically the RP or F off match, and I believe the only one that showed up was Assassin.
Yep, that's right.
You know what, though? I will say this. I am disappointed that, a guy like, for example, Scott Rock. Okay, Scott Rock has joined EWE like 14 times, and we keep laying him back in, and he keeps no-showing. Not a great RPer. No offense if he listens to this. I don't really care, because that's the truth. But... why do you keep joining if you're not planning on actually doing anything with it? I don't understand that.
Hey, at one point I was like that too, but now that I'm here, you guys can't complain about me.
No. But you understand what I'm saying, right? I mean, why join an EFED if you're not planning on doing anything with it?
Exactly. If you're going to keep joining, stop wasting our time. Like, just stop. Stop it.
Yeah, and, I get if you've never been in the Fed before, you don't like it or whatever the case is, but at least have the decency to say, hey, I'm not going to be there, and don't have the audacity to join, 4 times. That's just ridiculous. I don't... Sorry, getting off topic there, but...
Yeah, it happens, trust me.
But yeah, Assassin did show, so I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, this will be the comeback of Assassin. Hall of Famer, had a lot of talent at one point. moving on, we had Cody Rhodes and Jericho, another no-show. Jericho wins. We had Stan Flan and Cody Adario. I think I'm saying that right. Adario?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, Adario. Stan Flan, I actually like Stan a little bit. I mean, he's kind of rough around the edges, but I think that he is showing, and, maybe with a little guidance or with a little more time, he can really become something here in EWE.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing reading his and even Jericho. I think Jericho, going back one match, but Jericho, I think with the right person following or teaching him, he could be good.
There's a lot of people, I think, in EWE that have potential to go to that next level, but they just need that little boost. And again, going back to what we said earlier, I think that's why the X-Core title is such a great idea right now. But we'll get to that here in a second. Going to match 4, we had the Joker versus Spider-Man, which...
I got some type of animosity with these characters, but I'm not going to get into it tonight.
Joker, obviously done by Scar. I think it's done very well. The problem is she doesn't focus enough with him, which rightfully so, because I think her Angela Fortin is fantastic. So
right, I actually like the Joker a little bit with her, because we see a couple of her RPs off that's random, but she's done a good job, though.
Sure. Main event was Jon Moxley versus Michael Clark. I believe Moxley... Was that another no-show?
Let me pull it up real fast. I believe so, though. Wouldn't shock me.
I think all of them were no-shows. But Michael Clark, I believe, is handled by Michael, as a matter of fact. And he's another one.
Show.
Oh, that's what I figured. He's another one that has a lot of talent, and this is his third character, I believe. Probably the weakest of his 3, in my opinion, at least. But at least, he's able to keep them consistent. So...
Right.
Going to actual Retribution, we started out with the Representatives Grudge match, which was Jigsaw's representative versus Jensen. That was Dr. Quackerton Jr. versus the Green Arrow.
Let's just move on.
I don't really have a lot to say. I don't know. I don't think anyone really knew where that was going, and I think it was just a bad idea. So, next we had Cameron Hayden versus Johnny Chaos. Hayden no-shows, which is not a big surprise to me, unfortunately. Johnny Chaos moves on, no problem. Next was Crime Time Outlaw Country Boys. Basically the same thing, more or less. Really not a lot put into that match, I don't think. But it is what it is. I don't know.
Look, man, Jay, if you're going to do Crime Time, you got to do them right. You got to... It seems like you're not trying. we all love the Crime Time RPs. Everybody says that. But
he's funny. He's funny.
Right, he hits it dead on. But lately, it's like he's not trying. So maybe.
Well, I think he's trying right now, though. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think one thing he is doing that I like is that he's trying to take more focus with the Fed, and I think that's important. I mean, that's just my opinion, and hopefully that's the truth.
Yeah, well, we'll love to have a Fed that runs more than the owner RPing, but,
Sure. Next we had Alessandro Quagliateri. I never can say his last name. So AQ taking on Dan Taylor. Another one, Dan Taylor, no shows, and that's, again, not... In fact, I believe he has officially quit again on the OOC board, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. That was something I was getting into. When I read it, I was like, yeah, who didn't see that coming?
It's unfortunate, but, that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. Next up, we had Christy Chaos and Android number 18. Jen, as 18, did a very good RP. Obviously, Jay did not as Christy. This was actually a very bad pay-per-view for Jay, other than the tag title match. Yeah. Really. And I guess a Johnny Chaos match too, but 18 Jen did a great RP. I really like her style. And I know all the we'll call him the EWE smarks will say Mike is 18, so we'll call her Jen / Mike / Tony, but no, I thought it was done very well. Next match was Derek Daniels versus The Rock. Did you read the Derek Daniels RP?
I started reading it. I'll be honest. I started reading it, and then I was just like, you know, it was the end of the night. I was trying to rush on the, so I really didn't get into it.
Okay. Well, like I mean, it was kind of obvious, you know.
Yeah.
What the case was, but I have to say that this was kind of, to me, the Triple D comeback RP, and he really put a lot of heart into it. Obviously, Rock, I'm sure you saw the Rock with the Mountain Dew thing, which was kind of cute, but
yeah,
you know, I think this was really, really a good comeback for him, and I'm hoping this leads to something. After the match, we had the little AQ Derek Daniels thing. You know, who knows where that's going to go. Hopefully we see something really interesting come out of that.
Yeah, I agree.
EWE X-Core Championship, Eli taking on Leo. Leo finally gets some gold here in EWE, so that's a big round of applause right there. That's me clapping. So,
yeah,
not Eli, Leo Cat, I should say,
Leo,
JC, but
yeah.
I meant Leo gets some gold, which is good. Eli contends. This is great. I think it's very important for the low card to have something, and I don't mean that as a shot against you guys. If you're listening, please do not take it that way. But, you know, you guys now have something that is a little more realistic and will help push you towards something more, and I like that. So
Right.
As a matter of fact, I was going to say the X-Core Championship. I mean, I could see Stan in that division right now. I could see the Jericho in that division. I could see Leo Cat. I could see, you know, Eli. I mean, there is some competition down there now, so that's good. I think that's really going to push forward. So, next match we had Charismatic Fury taking on the Jobber Squad, Mike and John Jobber. Charismatic Fury takes it. Win number 19, I believe, for Dutch. If I'm knowing my own character.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's your character, so you know that.
Yeah, well, you know. John and Mike did a good job, I thought. You know, they do a great job with the Jobber Squad, and you never can take them lightly. But at the same time, you know, I think I kind of brought it, and I think Jay did a fairly good Christie, you know, straightforward promo.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was enough to win, so, you know, I'm happy with that. Next was a grudge match. We had Dean, well, I still call him Dean Winchester, but Dane taking on CM Punk. Again, another couple decent RPs. I actually believe, though, that CM Punk only got one up. Dane, the only thing I didn't like, did you read that second RP where he was kind of talking about, like, what's real against what's scripted?
Yeah, it's just, after a while, Dane, he's one of them characters, when you read it, you gotta really have an open mind, because you never know what's coming. Like, you really don't. Because I remember when he first did it, it was like a creepy RP. Like, everybody was like, all the staff was like, how do we judge this? And then the next week, it was like, he was back to Dean, sort of. So it was like, come on, like, give us something here.
Yeah, I don't know how to take his character sometimes. I can't say I was too thrilled with the allegations that he made about scripted versus non-scripted. I kind of got where he was going, like saying that mainstream wrestling, like WWE, is, you know, scripted. But it's like, at the same time, I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, technically we run EWE as if it was, you know, if you go back to like 1997, the WCW to the WWF.
Right.
So, you know, you're basically saying what exactly? You know, I mean, what are you implying? And I think that's what confused everyone more than anything.
Yeah, the second RP, after reading the first one, I was like, okay, I think he kind of has it. And then the second one was just like, you know, a little icing.
Yeah. Moving on, a match that I know you're not too thrilled with. But
all right, we're going to keep moving then.
AJ Styles defeats D-Dog in a ladder match. Puts you short, what, about 9 days from the record?
Yeah, 9 days.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, you gave it your heart, but I got to say this, and don't take this as an offense, Steve, but Mark's AJ has just been incredible. Plain and simple.
It's going to be hard to beat him for that title, I'll be honest.
You know, I think he really tapped into something with that character. I'm happy to say that I am able to help him a little bit with the Ric Flair, you know, and kind of giving him some ideas. But it's his character, and he knows how to run it. He knows what he's looking for, and that's important. I think that's very important.
Yeah, it is.
Moving on, we had Edge taking on Spider. Spider had some issues.
No offense, but when doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and I love Shane to death. Shane is... Wait, what's the word I can use? It's with an A, right? Is that...
Yeah, my nigga. I'll say it for you.
I'll let you say it. I'm too white to say something like that, apparently.
Yeah, according to Allie, you sound really funny saying it.
But, you know, I understand he's having some issues, and I hope he clears them up because he does have a lot of talent. But, yeah, Edge gets to move on, gets the number one contendership spot, and we'll go from there. Next match was the EWE X Division Championship, which was very well done. Basically, we saw Adrian Quinn walk away with the X Division title. Adrian Quinn, I think, is going to be a real force to be reckoned with right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, to all our peers and that, you all did a really good job. Like, it was a close-ass match. Like, if I remember, I think it was like, what, 0.3 was different between the top three people?
There was some very tight. It was very tight. You know, I felt Quinn had his, you know, my opinion at least. I felt he had the best of the bunch. I remember my judging got deleted, unfortunately, but basically I felt that he really brought it the hardest and you know, really did a great job. So, but yeah, definitely a lot of kudos to the writers in that. Final match here was the main event, which was Brooke McGuire versus Dutch. A lot of kudos to Mike as Brooke. I was pleasantly surprised that he was able to do as well as he did.
He's really trying to bring it for you. He really brought. You know, we all thought it was like, why would you bring Brooke in? You know, White Tiger had a better feud with him, but he did his thing with it.
Yeah, almost definitely. And you know, I'm not trying to sound cocky, so please, I'm not trying to come off that way. But at the same time, it's like I can honestly say that I don't think if he wasn't facing me or, well, I mean, according to the votes, of course, I mean, it's obvious. But if he wasn't facing me or say like a Derek or an Abdul,
yeah, you
know, I mean, I don't think he loses. You know, he really did two excellent RPs. I can't, you know, not say enough about that. He did a turnaround with that character that I didn't expect him to be able to do, and I give him all the props in the world for that. So,
yeah, he did an excellent job.
Of course, what said kind of interesting, and this is now we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming storylines and what's going on, but this actually has culminated in the most recent RP by Brooke, with Dutch making her quit at the end, which was a allusion to Dutch kind of refocusing on the wrestling aspect of it, and of course Brooke being, what's the word I'm looking for, hazed into being in the main event.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
And Mike has kind of ran with that, you know, with why didn't White Tiger assist? And I honestly think that Brooke is going to become his primary character, even outside of Kelsey and, you know, and the well, how do they pronounce it? Fugats? I call them Fugattis.
Yeah, I call them
Fugattis. But yeah, really good job there. Going down the list, top 10 RPers. Number 1, Dutch Clark, 9.28. Number 2, Brooke McGuire, 9.04. Number 3, Adrian Quinn, 8.78. Number 4, Derek Daniels, 8.76. Number 5, Edge, 8.67. Number 6, tie between Android 18, Jason Phoenix, 8.48. Number 7, Spider, 8.45. Number 8, AJ Styles, 8.42. Number 9, Daniel Bryan, 8.28. Number 10, D-Dog, 8.21. Honorable mentions, Mickey James, 8.12. CM Punk, 7.97. John Jobber, 7.73. Which I do want to make a mention, that was one of the absolutely most disgusting and hilarious RPs that John has done with John Jobber. But that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
Dane, 7.6, and Michael Clark, 7.38. Good work to all of our writers and our victors. Do definitely want to say a big congratulations to our titleists. Moving on, brief rundown. We do have 2 other shows coming up as far as Ladies Night and King of Extreme. Ladies Night and Chaos, which is for Queen of the Ring and King of Extreme. We've seen the first round and the Queen of the Ring go down. First round is now starting in Camp Xtreme. Let's start Queen of the Ring. Who do you like right now to win Queen of the Ring?
I've been looking. We were talking a little bit before the podcast. We definitely both agree on Rogue. I think that Rogue, what is it? Rogue, something like that.
Rogue,
yeah,
Rogue.
That's definitely, you can't sleep on it. The handler, I'm not sure who it is, but
it's Fee. Her name's Fee.
Fee,
yeah.
Keep doing your damn thing. Because I enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, Fee's excellent. I think Fee, she has a lot of talent. She is very determined with that character because it's a little bit different. I like the allusions to what she's talked about, like the minority in EWE, and I kind of like that.
Power to the people.
I think there are other people in the event, in the Queen of the Ring, that obviously have a chance as well. I think that, anybody right now can still come through. I think you can see Anya pull it out on the second chance. I think you can see Kelsey Parr most definitely make it there. Josie Wells, Kelly. But ultimately, I really think Rogue is the best of the bunch as of right now. I do want to give a prop out, and I just want to say Christy Jensen right now, which is JC. I'm not saying the RPs have been great, but he has kind of caught my attention a little bit of that character, which is weird.
You know what? I agree, because, honestly, I feel like Christy is one of his better ones. Like, Leo, don't get me wrong, Leo Katz is good, but, I think Christy could be really good.
Do you think it's because it's a real character, not necessarily a cartoon character?
You know what? I'm biased, so I don't want to get into it, but yeah. I really.
Well, I mean, it's not bias. I mean, it's just,
I mean, let me just break into it real fast. Like, I'm against those characters. Sonic and, Spider-Man, Joker. I think they're stupid when it comes to E-Feds. But it's like a CAW almost, so I guess I shouldn't be. I'm flip-floppy.
No, well, you have your opinions. I mean, we've discussed this before on the podcast, but, I like it when you're able to add some realism to him, like with the Sonic character. Everyone thinking he's a midget in a suit.
Right.
If I were to roleplay against Sonic as Dutch, that's how I would view the character. But, I think that's something else. Like, a couple people were getting pissed off because, they're like, they're cartoon characters. Well, you know what? Yes, they are, but you should be talented enough to RP against anything.
Right.
And, I remember in Wrestle going back a few years, and I know you, huh?
I said, man, you are taking it back.
Yeah. Well, Wrestle's still around. It's just all sim now. But John will vouch for this. I know you were in Wrestle as well, but we had a character that was known as a stick figure man. That literally was a stick figure, But when I role-played against the stick figure man, I role-played as if it was a really skinny guy in a suit. So you just need to open your mind a little bit. So going into the other side of things, we had the Camp Xtreme Round 1 coming up on Chaos. All right, D, who do you like in Camp Xtreme? Obviously, counting yourself, of course.
Honestly, the people I really am looking forward to seeing, obviously, I want to see Mark continue to do his thing with Styles. I want to see, is he still as hungry as he was when he got the title? That's the main thing. Other than that, I'm looking at everybody. I want to see AQ do, he looks hungry. He doesn't have a title. He hasn't been in a feud in a while. Let's see what he does. So he can, people might forget who he is. Let's see if he can reinvent himself.
Sure. I agree with those as well. I think that, honestly, I think that you could really take this a lot of different ways. I think there are probably, realistically speaking, and I'm not trying to be offensive to some of the people in it, but I think realistically you could see 7 or 8 people, that you can make a strong argument for going all the way. My opinion right now, I think that if I had to narrow it down to 3 that I would think are going to win, I'd probably say definitely Alessandro going. I think that, I don't think I can narrow it down to 3 because I was going to say AJ as well. I think Brooke, most definitely. I think, Johnny Chaos, I know Jay is very interested and, he's doing what he has to do. Edge is a possibility. Mallory, sure.
It's a handful of people. I mean, it's really hard to narrow it down. Like, I was just thinking myself, who would I narrow it down to? It's too hard.
Even The Rock. I mean, The Rock was really good. And the one that actually surprised me, and and the reason I bring this up, she approached me to write this RP about using one of my characters, was the Angela Fortin RP.
Yes.
Which I thought was done very well. And I like the angle of trying to be, even though we kind of have, I believe Kelsey's still in the, which that's another one I forgot to mention. Kelsey Parr, I believe, is in the, is she in Canada? Yeah, she's in Jericho. Mike's hungry again. But Angela is interesting because basically Scar is not one, Scar is obviously home in EWE. She's one of the family. She's a staff member. But, if you were to say, who are your top handlers, she doesn't necessarily jump out as one of the top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's right. She's like, honestly, I'll say she's like maybe 7 or 6, depending on what character you judge.
And she just falls right under the radar, and a lot of people have a tendency, at least from what I've seen, to overlook her. And after reading that RP, now I don't think it's her best work, but the concept that she's running with, I think, kind of brings it a little more legitimacy to the Angela Fortin character. And I think what is helping her is that she's kind of taken a little more seriously. She still has a lot of the pop culture references, which I like, but sometimes can derail from an RP. But with that one, it was really a legitimate, a push to say, okay, here I am, this is what we're going to do, let's see what happens. So, if I had to pick a dark horse for this tournament, that's my dark horse. That's my long shot pick.
Yeah, that definitely is one.
Like I said, literally, I could see, D-Dog could go all the way. I could see The Rock going all the way. I could see Mallory going all the way. I could see, there's a lot of people that I could see winning this thing, but, it's going to be hard to narrow it down. I'm very interested to see what the next couple of rounds are going to be. Just like, this is almost every King of Xtreme that I've been involved with personally or I've followed has been interesting and had a group of guys and girls that could win the event. And I think this, even though Queen of the Ring has a very good RPers too, obviously, I think this King of Xtreme, even more so than anything, is really just such a crapshoot. You look at like last year, you had like Mike and myself. I think 2010 was really a good one too. Obviously that one has a bit of history for me because of what I did with Dutch. But you also had, Abdul, and you had you had Derek. John is Derek Daniels, and you had Christy Chaos. Every year there's just such a plethora of talent. And there's your word for the day, plethora. Look it up. But and like I said, I think 2012 is going to be one of the best ones we've had. And I think whoever wins is not only definitely deserving of being entitled King of Xtreme, but I look forward to defending the undisputed title against him if I am, in fact, still the champion. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody hopes you still are, so they can be the one to stop you.
Well, I don't know.
As for another day, though.
Well, real quick, I joke around a lot, and I fool around, but the truth is, I hope someone does, and I'm very honored that people do hold me to some high, standard, which I think is really cool that people think that way of me.
Yeah.
And I hear the crap people talk about me too, which is fine. I think that's funny because it's like, well, if they didn't have some hatred or some want to throw me, they wouldn't say it to begin with. So, to me, that's a good thing. But, yeah, I just, I don't know. I really think that there is a lot of talent in EWE right now, and it's going to be interesting. Camp Xtreme is going to lead in or be a very, very interesting pay-per-view. Queen of the Ring and Camp Xtreme.
Yes.
So, let's go ahead and finish this up here. We are sitting at about 30 minutes. We'll take about 10 minutes here. Let's talk about a little bit of the news and rumors, Mill, if you will. I'm just going to kind of go down the list here. Number one, somebody that's turning a lot of heads. Hooded Figure! Yes! Your opponent, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. Is that what we call it now, opponent?
Yeah, let's go with that. Any thoughts?
It was Austin. Nah, I'm joking.
It's Vince McMahon.
Yeah, it's Vince, but nah, honestly, I wish I knew who it was. Obviously, everybody has their opinion.
Do you think it's actually an RP, or do you think it's just something?
I think it was Jay fucking with me.
Ooh, language, my dear boy.
My bad. It was
TVPG.
My bad. It was Jay messing with me.
That's okay. We're not TVPG, so that's okay. Yeah, it could. I don't know. I haven't bothered to really ping the IP addresses. I could, but I want to be surprised. I'm interested to see who actually is behind it, or if it is really someone that just.
So
I don't know.
Acting a fool.
Yeah. We have the INT picture, which obviously you're a big part of right now. Kind of a three-way, ideal. I mean, we're going to have Edge, yourself, and obviously AJ Styles all kind of fighting for this title. Any thoughts? I mean, do you think Edge, AJ, I mean, what do you think?
Honestly, I was going to, before, I'm not going to get into it, but I said even if I lost the match at the pay-per-view, I was going to sit back and wait till after the Edge and Styles, clashed out for a little bit. I was going to sit back and watch. But, it's going to be a good feud. I mean, the three of us, I hate triple threats. I don't think titles should be defended in triple threat in E-Feds. That's just my point of view. But it's just, I'd rather it be one-on-one.
Well, it's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, there are some, people that are very much traditionalists like that. Personally, I think it depends on how it's being done. That's always been my kind of, my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
So, I've also, but then again, as everyone knows, I'm a huge fan of Royal Rumble 92, so I kind of like those kind of matches, deciding titles as well. I love a Royal Rumble match deciding a champion, so, it just depends, I guess. Just depends. Trying to see if there's anything else. I mean, anything else you want to address?
You know what? As the E-Fed, EWE as a whole, I think we need more non-title feuds. That doesn't involve a title or a title shot. Like, honestly, right now, I would love to feud with, AQ, but it'd be pointless. I mean, yeah, D-Dog has 2 single victories against him, but people say I'm still out of his league. Like,
well, yeah.
As a character, I'm out of his league. Let's put it that way.
Well, I think the problem is, and this is again my perspective. I think the problem with those kind of feuds sometimes is that you start losing, the interest to some extent, and that's not necessarily good either, And I mean, let's assume we do put AQ and D-Dog together. Well, right now AQ is ranked like number 3 for the Undisputed Championship. Okay, so I mean, and literally, at this point, Dutch has gone through the number 1 contender, and his heir replacement, obviously. So next in line would be someone else from the, in that lineage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do see what you're saying, though. I wish there was a few more feuds going on, but I think with coming up, we have a few ideas coming, and I know that I expect to see some surprises coming up here on Chaos. which I don't want to spoil alert anyone, but I think
yeah,
people
that's
already
what
know.
I've been trying not to too. So
Yeah, you know, I mean, I know you've got some stuff going on. I've got some stuff going on, which I think will be interesting to the readers. You know, it's just a matter of, you know, making it work, and you know, we'll see where it goes. You know, that's really the big key.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think the X-Core division has been a great, as I said earlier, it's a great idea. I think that's good to get these guys, you know, some exposure. You know, because a lot of people argue about, you know, there is some top talent with some of the belts, and I think having a low-end title is a good thing.
Right.
And yeah, I mean that's pretty much the gist of it. I don't really have anything else at this point. Dean, you?
Just, you know, even if you're not in a title picture right now, stay motivated. That's like, it's hard with a Fed. You know, we all have lives, like you said earlier. If the results take a week, maybe 2, we're never trying to make it last, you know, 3 weeks. We really don't want it to last more than a week. But stay motivated, you know, general RP, make a Twitter, have some Twitter beef. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you just stay motivated in the EWE because it's a great Fed.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, and you know, it's just keep yourself active and do what you can to, you know, to be your best. I mean, that's really the best advice I can give anyone, and you know, that's really the biggest issue with any Fed is that you've got to stay active. While I got a second here, just in case you are not part of EWE and you stumbled upon this podcast, don't forget to go to Google Envision, EWEINVISION, EWE. You can check that out. You can also check out our regular podcast with John North and myself, which is Wrestling Evolved. You can go to Facebook.com/Wrestling Evolved to check that out. We want to give a big thank you to our sponsors, of course, Xtreme Wrestling Entertainment, as well as Heat Card Today for all of your Arizona insulation needs. Which, believe it or not, we actually do have a real sponsor for an E-Fed podcast. Isn't that amazing?
That's a shocker.
Hey, well, they give me an opportunity to use the equipment, so you know what? I got to give them a shout. You can always see their links in my or in the bottom of the YouTube file. For Demetrius, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate you having here today.
Thanks for having me, always.
My pleasure, my friend. On behalf of everyone in EWE, if you are not a member, please join. We want to say thank you very much for listening. Check us out next week. We will continue to go on with the Fed news and rumors. Like I said, check Chaos this week. We will have some big surprises, which we'll talk about a little more. Do want to give a big shout out, by the way, while I am thinking about it. I do want to give a big shout out to my buddy John North. John, I know you're not on the show tonight, but I still love you no matter what. D doesn't like you, though. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't like him.
All right, guys. For Demetrius, I'm Dustin J. Markowitz. Good fight, good night, and yeah, we'll see you next time.